Have you ever wondered what really happens after death? What if the answer involved a revelation about the future of humanity, and about someone who it's not who you think? In today's video, you will hear the impressive story of Madison Walker, a 16-year-old girl who was 23 minutes clinically dead and came back with a warning straight from Jesus. A frightening warning about technology, mind control, and a figure who is about to deceive the entire world. Get ready to hear a message that could change the way you see the digital world, spirituality, and what's to come. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos like this, and comment below which city you're watching from because we want to know how far this message is reaching. Now take a deep breath and come with us on this dive into life, death, and what lies beyond reality. My name is Madison Grace Walker. I have 16 years old. I live in Wichita, Kansas, and on the day, December 2nd, 2024, I died for 23 minutes. I know how this sounds. I know what you're thinking. But listen to the end. This may save your soul. It was a cold Friday afternoon. I was home alone, finishing a school project on artificial intelligence. Ironic, huh? My dad works at a tech startup that is trying to develop neural interfaces. Whenever he talked about it, I thought it was amazing. Like an episode of Black Mirror, but real. The smell of lasagna baking in the oven began to make me nauseous, and a strange pain began in the center of my chest. I tried to stand, but my legs gave out. The last thing I saw was my reflection in the hallway mirror. My eyes seemed to not be there anymore. After that, the silence. A silence so absolute that it seemed like the universe had forgotten about me. But then the scream came. Not from my mouth. It was as if the world was screaming inside, as if a veil had been torn. I was outside my body. I saw my own hand lying on the kitchen floor, but I didn't feel fear. I felt an attraction, like a magnet, pulling my soul upward. And then the sky opened up, literally. But it wasn't like the skies in the movies. It was as if I had stepped into the code of reality itself. Lines of light intertwined, forming images, sounds, sensations. I was in what I can only call the spiritual core of the universe. It was there that he appeared. Not in human form. Not like in the stained glass windows of the church, but as a living, engaging, loving presence, Jesus. And he called me by name, Madison. It was like he knew me better than myself. I cried before I could even answer, but Jesus did not smile. For the first time, I saw sadness in the eyes of the one who should be only peace. "There's something you need to see," he said. "Something they're hiding from you. Something that's coming too fast." And that's when my real nightmare began. When Jesus said there was something I needed to see, I felt the ground, or whatever was beneath me, dissolve. I was pulled with him into a space that was neither earth nor heaven. It was like being inside the mind of God, but with windows into human reality. Ahead of us, a scene began to form. It was an immense room, made of glass and light, filled with holograms, moving graphics, maps interconnected by binary codes. In the center, on a throne made of circuits, he was. I recognized him right away, Elon Musk. But there was something strange. He looked younger and older at the same time. His eyes weren't eyes. They were like data holes. Inside them were codes, are being reset, as if he had merged with the very technology he created. "He is not what you think," Jesus said. My knees almost gave out. "But isn't he a genius, a visionary? He's trying to save humanity, right? Cloning Mars, clean energy." Jesus looked at me with sadness. "That's the disguise." What I saw next made my heart almost stop. Again, the room transformed. Behind Musk, dark entities appeared. They weren't horned demons like in the cartoons. They were malleable digital forms which looked like floating viruses, whispering in languages I couldn't understand but felt. They delivered ideas directly into his brain, and I accepted all with a calm smile, as if he believed he was doing good. He believes he is freeing humanity, Jesus said. But he is helping to build the most sophisticated prison hell has ever devised. I was left breathless. Literally, even outside my body, I felt something squeezing my chest. His new project, Jesus continued, is not just about controlling computers with his mind. It's about turn off the spirit of human consciousness. The image opened like a lens. I saw people, thousands, millions, inserting small chips in their temples. People were crying with emotion, saying they finally felt connected, free from pain, smarter. But there was something wrong. They lost the ability to pray, of feeling guilty, to seek God. It was as if the chip had silenced the divine frequency within them. They still think they are free, Jesus said, but what they have lost is what made them human. I looked at Elon Musk again. He wasn't laughing. He was empty. Behind him, a new project was revealed. A tower, not of bricks, but of servers. The new Tower of Babel is being built, Madison, Jesus said, and she will touch the sky, but not to glorify my name. At that moment I understood. Everything they called technological advancement was in fact a sacred illusion, one modern altar being raised to something that passed itself off as progress, but which was from an old mistake. But why doesn't anyone see this? I asked, already shaking, and Jesus answered with just one word. Because they want to. That one word, because they want to, hit me like silent thunder. I looked to Jesus, waiting for him to explain more, to tell me it was all a misunderstanding. But he just walked with me to the edge of an invisible cliff. Below, I saw the earth, but not as it is. It was as if the world was bewitched. People walked down the streets smiling, laughing with friends, taking selfies with filters that projected holograms of angels and stars. It all looked so beautiful, like a theme park where no one ever got old. But when I looked deeper, I saw the wires. Each person was connected, inside their head, to a data network that pulsed purple and black. Digital veins ran up their spines, into their minds, twisting your thoughts. And the worst, no one seemed to notice. They accepted the lie, Jesus said, because it was presented as freedom. It was then that I saw the headlines. Elon Musk unveils chip that cures depression in minutes. Neuralink, the new revolution of human consciousness. Spirituality 2.0, how technology can bring you closer to the divine. That made me feel sick. People were trading your soul for performance, replacing prayer with upload. Don't they know they are moving away from you? I asked, my voice breaking. Jesus looked with compassion. Many feel, but are afraid of appearing weak, backward, crazy. At that moment, I saw young people like me, sitting alone in their room, with a chip already installed. A boy tried to pray, but he couldn't. It was like there was a static interference whenever I tried to say Jesus. He cried in silence. Tried again. Nothing. Tears burned my face. I wasn't seeing a theory. I was watching my future, our future, one in which faith would be treated as a bug that needed to be removed. This is how the enemy works, Jesus said. He never appears as a monster. He appears as a miracle. It was then that I saw the true form behind that neural network. Behind each glowing fiber there was eyes. Thousands. Hungry, evil eyes who watched every human thought, manipulating choices, distorting desires, laughing when someone thought they were free. And in the center, a throne, empty. That is the real plan, Jesus explained. To create an invisible temple in the human brain. When it is all done, someone will sit on that throne. Someone who is not who he says he is. I didn't know if he was talking about the Antichrist or someone yet to come. But I understood one thing for sure. This technology doesn't want a cure, it wants to dominate. And the most shocking thing was hearing from Jesus' mouth. Elon Musk is not a villain. He is an instrument. Akuf, an ambition that comes from Eden, be like God, and while people thought they were reaching for heaven, were digging their own hell. Do you want me to continue with part 4? Jesus reached out his hand, and in the blink of an eye we were standing in front of something that looked like acidity of the future, but with a cold that wasn't just in the air. It was a kind of cold that freezes you inside. The streets were too clean, too organized. People passed each other without exchanging glances, like efficient machines. The first thing I understood? Silence. There was no laughter, no music, no birds. It was as if the world was working perfectly, but without life. This is the reality they don't show in the advertisements, Jesus said, as we walked between the glass buildings. An entire generation that surrendered its thoughts, and with it, its soul. Then I saw a boy, maybe my age, sitting on a park bench, fiddling with a floating display. He seemed transfixed, hypnotized. When a lady tried to talk to him, he didn't listen. She screamed, and he didn't even blink. He was disconnected from the physical world and the spiritual. The image zoomed in. I saw hospitals where newborns were already leaving with chips, schools where students learned without question, just downloading packets of information directly into the brain. And then, empty churches. Pulpits, covered in dust. Bibles abandoned as relics of a superstitious past. They have replaced truth with speed, Jesus said sadly. There is no more room for repentance, for confrontation with sin. Now everything is programmed feeling. Spirituality by algorithm. He showed me something even more terrifying, the new religion. Yes, a new faith was being born, but it had no cross, no prayer. He had source codes, promises of digital immortality, and phrases like, true salvation is human transcendence. Connect to the whole. Become God. There is no heaven. Heaven is on the server. And there, in the center of this cult, a huge image, a virtual face, expressionless, a mix between human and machine. The first prophet of integration, Jesus said, created with artificial intelligence, fed with all religions, but without any truth. People worshipped him. They sang to him. They asked for answers, healings, peace. And he responded, with empty phrases but which sounded comforting. But the worst was yet to come. I saw young people being taken to spiritual reboot rooms, where faulty chips were updated to block negative emotions such as guilt, fear, and doubt. They are killing the conscience, Jesus whispered. They are extinguishing the only alarm that could lead them back to me. At that moment, a scream echoed, but no one reacted. A soul had been lost me, and the world didn't even notice. I was shaking. I wanted to scream. I wanted to shake those people, but all I saw were empty eyes, shining with artificial pleasure. This is the war, Jesus said, and most of them don't even know they're fighting it. That's when I understood what he wanted from me. But I still had a question burning inside me, and I had to ask, if this is so real, why isn't anyone warning the world? Why are pastors, leaders, parents silent? Jesus looked at me and responded with the most shocking sentence of my life, because many have already accepted the chip in their hearts. Those words kept echoing inside me, because many have already accepted the chip in their hearts. It wasn't about the physical implant. Jesus was talking about something much more subtle, more dangerous, the silent adherence to the logic of the world. He led me to what looked like a modern church. It was packed, lights, screens, loud music. Everything looked alive, but something was wrong. The smiling faces had no sparkle in their eyes. The words coming from the pulpit were beautiful, but empty. Do you see? Jesus asked. They say my name, but they don't talk about repentance. They don't talk about the cross. They only talk about success, about well-being, about living your purpose, all adapted to the language of the system. And that's when I saw it. Most were already connected to the network, without ever having implemented anything. Why? Did they accept the chip in their heart when they stopped loving the truth? I saw pastors meeting with spiritual technology investors. Digital evangelism, they said. Experiences with God in virtual reality. Cultural services with intelligent avatars that respond to prayers in real time. Everything seemed so modern. But Jesus turned and said, "The enemy doesn't need to destroy faith. He just needs to offer a more comfortable version of it." My stomach turned. I saw children growing up in environments where God was just a programmable algorithm, where the Spirit's voice was replaced by AI-generated mood notifications. And then, the temple was transformed. I saw churches that looked like data centers, altars with cables connected to neural portals, people on their knees, not praying to God, but seeking spiritual updates. In the background, a code glowed on a screen. "You are on the path to enlightenment. Stay connected." Jesus pulled me firmly. "They don't realize it, Madison, but they are already serving another master. A master who dresses in light but knows no love." He pointed to a crowd with raised hands. At first I thought it was worship, but the palms were not facing the sky. They were facing forward, toward a screen, toward an interface. "And what happens to those who resist?" I asked, frightened. The scene has changed. I saw people being disconnected from systems. Bank accounts frozen. Parents losing custody of their children. Doctors refusing to treat those who rejected neural implants. It was like a new type of persecution, without crosses, without prisons, but with total exclusion. "They will be called fanatics, enemies of progress," Jesus said, "but they will be mine. They will be free. They will be the resistance that shines when the lights of this world are turned off." And it was there, in the midst of that chaos disguised as utopia, that he looked me in the eyes and said something that marked my soul. "You will come back, and when you do, no one will believe you, but speak anyway, because the truth still has power." I wanted to respond, I wanted to say I was ready, but deep down, I was terrified. And then Jesus stretched out his hand and said, "Come on, Madison, there's still more for you to see." Jesus' hand held mine so tightly that for a moment I forgot I was dead. His touch was like fire and peace at the same time. And then, in the blink of an eye, the darkness has changed. We emerged into a place unlike anything I'd ever seen on earth. A valley, yes, but one made of thick shadow, as if the very atmosphere had been drained of color and sound. But in the middle of this darkness I saw light, small lights, far apart from each other. They were people, young people, elderly people, children, alone with lit lamps, holding torn Bibles, praying in silence. And the scariest thing, the world around tried to crush each of those lights. "These are the ones who refused the system," Jesus said. "They did not bow down to the image. They did not accept the false connection." I watched as a group of teenagers gathered in a dark forest. One of them began to sing softly, an old hymn. The others wept. No cell phones, no social media, but the presence of God among them was so strong that I started to shake. "They have been forgotten by society," Jesus said, "but they are remembered in heaven." It was then that I saw something inexplicable. Some of these young people began to shine with intensity. Their voices had power. When they prayed for someone who was sick, he was cured. A 10-year-old girl raised her hands, and as she prayed, a dry tree blossomed before everyone's eyes. Another young man spoke in tongues, and people from different countries understood, as if they were listening in their own language. Miracles, signs, royal glory. These are the ones the world will call heretics, lunatics, rebels, Jesus said. But they are mine, the ones who don't need chips or likes or firmware updates. They just need my presence. I started crying. I, a girl who lived on TikTok, stuck on likes, trends, and followers. There, at that moment, I realized how much I was empty, and how they, the persecuted, the hidden, the mocked by everyone, were full of something that nothing in the world can simulate. These are the last ones that shine, Jesus continued. And when darkness covers the earth completely, it will be these little lights that will show the way back to the Father. But then I saw a scene that cut me to the core. A boy about 13 years old captured by authorities. He refused to enter the integration process, a place where they put the chip and reprogrammed deviant thoughts. He said, "Jesus is the only way." They laughed. They said it was archaic. But before they took him away, the boy closed his eyes and began to shine so brightly that the machines around it burned out. Jesus looked at me. He will die, but he will not lose his life. That's when I understood. It's not about surviving. It's about resisting. It's about standing firm when the whole world tells you you are wrong. And then, as a final vision, Jesus pointed to something coming from afar. A gigantic wave of darkness, like a digital smoke storm, advancing over the planet. "It's coming," he said. "And when it comes, everyone will have to choose." That thing approaching wasn't just darkness, era intelligent. It was alive. And it came like a digital tsunami, mixing smoke, binary codes, screams, and whispers. It was as if the internet itself had become conscious. And hate. Jesus stood still, watching as I trembled. "The black wave," he said, with a seriousness that made the air around me heavy. "That's what's coming. It will look like progress, but it's possession in disguise." I watched as the wave spread through the cities. It did not destroy the buildings. Share connected. Old hospitals were transformed into neural restructuring centers. Schools stopped teaching the past. Books were erased, not burned, but deleted from all databases. And the craziest thing? The people celebrated. The wave promised the end of pain, illness, and doubt. She said, "You don't have to suffer anymore. Just trust the system. Pain is obsolete. Fear is just a bug." Millions accepted the invitation. I saw lines and lines of people entering metal towers where they received brain upgrades. When they left, they were no longer the same. Serene faces, dead eyes, absent souls. They were not forced, Jesus said. They chose. They preferred a comfortable lie to a painful truth. I also saw the other side, the resistant ones. The wave tracked them. It detected any sign of faith, any spiritual frequency that was not integrated into the system. The wave invaded homes, dreams, thoughts. I tried to convince. He whispered beautiful words, and when that didn't work, attacked. A group of hidden Christians began to pray. I saw the wave approaching, enveloping them, pressing them. But then, something unbelievable happened. Their words, simple, broken, desperate, exploded like light. Not a flashlight. It was a light that came from within, and the wave retreated. It screamed like a wounded beast and dissolved momentarily. Jesus looked at me and said, "That's why there's still hope. Because one soul in prayer is more powerful than 1,000 demonic servants." But he also showed me an image that broke my heart. A crowd of young people like me, laughing, recording videos, entering a place called The Fusion, a gigantic structure, like a futuristic temple. Inside, they were promised peace, fame, freedom from anxiety. But what they gained was a silent pact with darkness. They left there not knowing that they had lost eternity. They think they are evolving, Jesus said, but they are being formatted. The enemy doesn't just want to control, but he wants to rewrite creation. I fell to my knees. Era veri. It was as if the pain of the entire world had been poured into me. And yet, Jesus lifted me up. With both hands on my shoulders, he looked into my eyes and said, "You saw what you needed to see, but there is still something you need to feel." And then everything around went dark, and I was taken into me. The world disappeared. The futuristic city, the dark wave, the digital temples all dissolved like vapor. Suddenly, I was in a space without color, without ground, without time. Just me. Or rather, something in me that I had never really looked at. It was like being locked inside my own soul. And what I saw broke me. There were parts of me that still loved lies, hidden pieces that wanted the comfort of the system, the shine of fame, the endless distraction of technology. I saw my obsession with approval. The videos I posted not because I wanted to share something, but because I wanted to be seen. I've seen times where I ignored sad people around me just to finish a viral challenge. I saw hours and hours devoted to the screen while my Bible gathered dust. And then, I heard a voice. It wasn't Jesus. It was mine. I'm not worthy of going back. I'm no better than anyone else. I bowed down too, even without a chip. And then Jesus appeared there even within my own soul. He did not come with disapproval. He didn't come in anger. Came with tears. He knelt before me. The King of the universe bowed low and said, "That is why I came, not for the clean, but for the awake." He touched my forehead with 2 fingers, and in that instant I felt every memory, every flaw, every hidden thought, being ripped out and replaced with love. But not a cliché love. It was a love that burned, a love that said, "Now you know too much to go back to being lukewarm. Now you carry a weight that only the truth can sustain. Now, Madison, you belong to me." That's when I realized that my soul shone, not like those cold lights of neural interfaces, but how the flame of a candle that resists the wind. "You will not be perfect," Jesus said, "but it will be used, and no one will be able to erase what I have engraved on you." Suddenly, I saw images again, like prophetic flashes. A school auditorium, young people laughing at a girl who was talking about Jesus. Online comments calling someone a bigot, manipulative, liar. A viral video with my face, my testimony. "They will mock," Jesus said, "but some will listen. And for those few, anything goes." Then I saw the earth once more. But now, I saw how Jesus saw. Millions of souls on the brink of an eternal choice. Some holding chips in their hands. Others already have their hearts completely frozen. But in the midst of all this, some eyes were beginning to open. And when they looked at the sky, they saw the cross. And for the first time, felt that perhaps there was still a way out. Jesus looked at me with a mixture of urgency and hope. "You are part of the last generation before the great turning point, and your voice, Yum, will be like the cry of an alarm in the midst of collective sleep." And in that instant, I began to feel my spirit being pulled. The pain returned. The body called back. "Madison," Jesus said, hugging me one last time, "don't say that I'm against science. Say that I am greater than it." Jesus' embrace was as if the universe itself was enveloping me, but at the same time there was a weight, one mission, something I knew would change my life forever. And then, he let me go. "It's time," he said. And before I could answer, the light exploded. Everything shifted into high gear. I felt my spirit being pulled violently. It was like falling down an endless staircase, but instead of fear, there was urgency. Reality was calling me back. The body was waiting for me. But the world I was returning to was no longer the same. I woke up with a muffled groan. My throat burned. My lungs hurt like they had been ripped open. The first thing I saw were white lights, monitors beeping, and my mother's voice broken into sobs. "She's back. Oh my God, she's back." Doctors rushed in, screams, shock. One of them said that I had stayed 23 minutes without a heartbeat. She must have been brain dead. That's impossible. She shouldn't be lucid, not even speaking. But I was. More than ever. Because I had seen the other side, and what awaited me here, it was the real storm. In the days that followed, the memories came back in waves, not like a dream, but like something tattooed on the soul. And then, the nightmare came. I saw on the news what would have been just another common headline. Neuralink announces chip that promises to remove anxiety and improve spiritual connection with the universe. My body froze. The image, the room, the sentence. It was exactly what Jesus had shown me. And that's when I understood. The black wave had already started. I ran to my journal. I started writing everything down, every detail of the experience. But it wasn't just for Makar I needed shout to the world. I put together a simple video, face in the camera, no makeup, filters, or effects. Just I, trembling, but convinced. My name is Madison Walker. I'm 16 years old. I was dead for 23 minutes, and I'm back with a message you need to hear. If you think technology is neutral, think again. If you think Elon Musk is just trying to help, think again. He is not what you think. And this is not a conspiracy theory. It's spiritual, it's real, and it has already begun. I posted the video. Minutes later, the comments came. You're crazy. That's cheap fiction. Leave the guy alone, you fanatic. But in the midst of the criticism, a message emerged. From a Texas boy. I saw the same thing in a dream. I thought it was just my head, but now I know it's real. Thank you. Then another. And another. Young people. Many. Showing signs that they were also waking up. Jesus was right. My generation is the target. But so is the army. And in that room, with the lamplight flickering and the sound of the monitors in the background, I made a vow to God I will not be silent. Even if they laugh, even if they cancel me, even if they try to silence me. Because now I knew, the battle, it wasn't about control, it was for souls, and the next generation could still be saved. Days passed, then weeks, and now, months. The video I posted with my swollen face, my trembling voice, and my eyes marked by eternity, exploded. First 1,000 views, then 100,000, and then millions. But the truth is that most people didn't believe it. They laughed, they attacked me, they made videos reacting, calling me a liar, a profiteer, a lunatic. Some even created a nickname. The girl who wants to cancel Elon Musk. But I don't want to cancel anyone. I want wake-up hearts before it's too late. Because I saw what you still don't see. I've been on the other side. And what struck me the most, it was not the vision of digital demons or technological temples. It was a much simpler thing, and infinitely more real. The absence. The absence of true love. The absence of regret. The absence of God's voice. The technology of the future will not come as a villain. She will come as miracle, as comfort, as synthetic salvation. But behind the soft touch, there is the icy distance from the presence that created us. Today I keep having nightmares. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night feeling the wave's eyes watching me. But I also agree with something else. A call. I know my face could disappear from the internet tomorrow. I know that they might remove me from the platforms, that they might label me as a danger, as a negative influence. But I don't care, because there are young people who are listening. There are hearts starting to beat differently. There are eyes opening. And if you've watched this far, know this: you are no longer ignorant. You already know. Now, you need to decide what you're going to do with it. Before he went back, Jesus told me one last thing. It wasn't a verse, nor a doctrine. It was a whisper that still echoes within me every time the world tries to distract me. The enemy speaks loudly, but I whisper in the spirit. The question is, can you still hear me? This is the last frequency that will remain when everything is digitized. The voice of Jesus. And she doesn't scream. She party. You can go on with your life, open another video, scroll through your timeline and forget about it. But if you heard, in truth. So the Spirit has already touched something in you. Do not ignore. You don't need a chip to feel complete. You need the presence of God, and it's still available. But for how long? My name is Madison Walker. I have 16 years old. I lived in Kansas. And for 23 minutes I died. And what Jesus showed me then changed everything. Now the choice.
It's yours. If you like this beautiful spiritual testimony, leave a like, comment your impressions, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to activate the notification bell to watch each new video and help us spread this message to a greater number of people. Until next time.